What's up, everybody? Welcome to TheHiveVR. My name is Michael, and today I will be your host. So we've got a really exciting episode tonight where we'll be talking a little bit about the growing XR community in the collegiate level, like what college students are doing across the US to help promote XR technology. For today, we have our special guest, Kacey Weiniger from the University of Southern California. And before we get into more about the work that she's doing, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of context of essentially how I first met Kacey. So when I was still just getting into the XR industry kind of area, this was at the Oculus Connect 4 Developer Conference back in 2017. When I went there, I was like really intimidated by all the people who've been working in the industry for several years, even decades in some cases. So I was incredibly shy, and it could have been like just a terrible experience overall. But there was people like Kacey who welcomed me into their small little group of other students there. And I essentially spent a couple hours hanging out at the conference with people like Kacey. And a few months after the conference, actually, I'm being a student at the University of Michigan. I was frustrated with not having opportunities to explore more with these technologies. And Kacey encouraged me to actually start our own organization at my university. So it was thanks to her that I was able to co-found the Alternate Reality Initiative. And since then, for over a year, we've been hosting several different types of events, from workshops to bringing in speakers to essentially help more people explore, learn, build, and connect with XR technology. So I just wanted to first put that out there and give Kacey a special thanks for how much of a role model she's been for me. So give her a round of emojis.
Aw, thank you, Michael. That's really nice. Thank you, everyone, also for coming. I'm so excited to be here.
Woo! Great. So Kacey, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Kacey. I am currently a senior at USC. I study communication, and I'm also the president of our VR/AR club, XRSC. I've been for about a year now.
Great. And how did you first get involved in XR technology?
That's a great question, and a very convenient question, because I actually tried VR for the first time at a club meeting back when we were VRSC rather than XRSC. I actually attended a meeting on a whim because I wanted to try VR, and I was immediately struck by the power of it and the impact it could have. So I started getting more involved with the club, and here I am now. I'm now the president of it, and so now it's really great to give back for all those opportunities that I had. Otherwise, I never would have found this awesome field.
Cool. I know we've got a picture of, I think, one of the first apps that you had worked on called Arnold.
Awesome, yeah. So Arnold was the first project I got to work on. We did a project with the HoloLens. This was at the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, we worked on this project. And the whole concept was, it was a story about a dog that grows up within your own personal environment, because this is mixed reality where you can see your own environment. And the dog grows up roaming around your room, and depending on the furniture you have, it tells a different story. So we really wanted to experiment with this feeling of empathy when a virtual character joins you in your space and grows up in it. And it was a really great experience for me to work on a project and also see people so moved by a piece like this.
Cool. And so is it still around? Are you still able to download and try it out?
That's a good question. I bet you can. The HoloLens version of it isn't public, but we did publish an ARKit version for iOS. That's out there. Honestly, the HoloLens version is so much better that I don't even try and tell people about the mobile version. It's just such a different experience, but it is out there if you want to check it out.
Hmm. Cool. So now moving on to more of like the things that you've done with XRSC and what used to be VRSC. So I know we have this like picture from like early on, I think, of you with like four other team members from VRSC. So was this a picture from your project or was it from kind of like one of the meetings that you had originally?
So I can't actually see it, but I'm pretty sure, is this the picture where there's one on top of another, pretty much?
Um, this one is, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this was actually the Arnold team. After we got a good prototype going, we started to attend meetups to try and show people what we were working on to get their feedback on it. And this was the first one we went to. We also gave a little bit of a talk on our project and what brought us there and why we were doing this. And that was a really cool experience to meet other people in the community and start growing my network.
Hmm. And so, like over your journey with XRSD, hello. With your journey with like XRSC, like what are some of like the most interesting moments or most memorable moments you've had?
That's a good question. Let's see. So, my first year with the club, I was working on that project Arnold, and I got to showcase that project with our team at the VRSC Student Festival. That was a really special moment for me because I was just getting into this industry. I was just getting into technology in general because prior to that, I wanted to get into film producing and motion picture. So this was like the first time I'm telling all of my friends, all of my family to come out and see this new field that I'm so excited about. So that was really memorable for me, bringing my friends and family and also meeting other students who were passionate about this and being able to share that with them and create new friendships. That was a really memorable day for me.
Yeah, I think for me it's pretty like similar as well with our student organization at U of M. Um, I think just like every single time you get a demo a VR or AR experience to someone for the first time, you like immediately see their
Hmm.
eyes light up. In a lot of cases, it like helps them kind of see a little bit of like what's this kind of like strange technology that's been like overhyped before and then like kind of fell down and it kind of like with all the mobile VR headsets as well. Like some people have like different impressions on like what this technology is. So I always
Hmm.
love being able to demo to people for the first time and the whole aspect of like bringing together people who have like similar interests as well. Like I think with my student organization, some of my closest friends now are from that organization as well. So
Totally.
yeah.
And one of my favorite things too about showing people VR for the first time is actually the first thing they say after taking the headset off, because it's not just them being like, wow, this is so amazing, it's the future, which I always hear, but then what they say after that is something that has to do with their prior experience or their history that only they can figure out on their own. For example, I was showing VR to one of my entrepreneurship classes, and one of the girls came up to me afterwards and was like, "Do you realize what this means for the sales industry? This is so revolutionary for XYZ reasons." And I was like, "That's awesome. That was not the first thing I thought of when I tried VR." So I think it's really important to listen to these things when people are trying this. Everyone has a different expertise, and when they first try VR, it's really enlightening to hear where they think this can go.
Hmm. And I think one of the other aspects of like leading a student organization that I think probably is like similar experience for you is that like you kind of have to promote the technology in a way and kind of be like a spokesperson, evangelist almost in some cases, just to get more people to like know about the technology in the first place, right? Is that kind of like a similar thing
Yeah,
for you?
totally, exactly the same. When I show people who haven't tried before at our school, they're kind of shocked that they hadn't tried it. They're like, this is out there and I haven't engaged in this, especially when I speak to artists that I know. They're pretty shaken up that they can't use this in their daily life yet, or they want to find a way to start using it more. So it's exciting.
Great. So moving on, we have a picture here that says so XRSC presents developing for WebXR. And so I know that's like
Yeah.
some of the events that's like coming up for your organization, but like what other types of events do you help create?
Yeah, so one of our challenges is that there are so many different topics that we can speak to. There's like getting people engaged in VR who don't know about it, like we were just talking about. There's teaching students how to develop for this technology. There's bringing in industry guests to speak on their experience and give advice on what to do next. And there's also incubator type programs where you can help students form teams and work on projects. So all of these little subtopics are what we try and hit on. So we break down all of the categories that we want to make sure we get at least one event for it, and then we schedule it that way. So for example, we have developing for WebXR, which is really more for like developer students. And then last week we had a VR arcade night, which was really fun because no one had to have any experience. They could just show up and start playing. And then next week we're actually doing a projection mapping workshop, which isn't technically VR, but it's immersive content. So we want people to be aware of that as well. And then we have a panel coming up in April, which will be on immersive entertainment. And I'm very excited for that event. We're going to have some awesome industry guests come in, which I guess is one of the benefits of being in LA. I realize that we're spoiled.
Yeah, being in California and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely like there's less going on here at Michigan. We do have like a couple different like startups, and there are people working in like small little different areas in that space. So it's like
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see like starting to grow in like other places than just like the West Coast, for example. Yeah.
Totally. I guess I'm just curious as well if we were to stream any of our events or post any of our content for teaching workshops, would any of you here want to have access to that? If you could put an emoji
Show
up.
some emojis.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so that's actually something that's my next step right now. I'm almost graduating, and that's kind of one of my final initiatives I want to do is start posting more of the content that we develop on our website so that anyone can have access to it. So that's cool to see that people are interested.
Yeah, I think that's also a good tie into kind of like what we're doing at like a national level with like all the student organizations. So a little background about this. So Kacey and I, both of our universities and our student organizations belong to something called ICXR, the Intercollegiate XR community. Currently, we're at about 30 plus universities across the US that have a current like VR AR student org trying to help bring that technology to more people as well. And so I think it first started at USC like almost 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, so actually, well, fun fact is that VRSC was the first VR AR club in the country. So that's a fun fact. And then actually, one of the prior presidents, Josna, she started a group chat and a Facebook group for student leaders to connect. And the whole idea was to share resources and advice so that we could help each other. And so she started that a few years ago, and then since then, students invited the other students they met at conferences or events or hackathons, and it just kept growing. And then recently, in the past, I'd say year, there's been a big restart in it, and a rebrand, and a huge new initiative that Michael's been a big part of. Do you want to tell us more about where it is now?
Yeah, so now we kind of have like an official leadership board for ICXR. We have so her name is Sarah. She's the president of our ICXR board, and she's from USC. But we
Ooh,
also
go
have people on our
Sarah!
team. Yeah, she's awesome. We have people like her. We also have people from UC Berkeley. I'm also there from the University of Michigan, and we're constantly trying to grow this thing out now since we have a more formal kind of procedure. So we're doing things like trying to create some kind of program to help schools who don't currently have a program and try to help them, give them the resources they need to start their own organization and start kind of exploring what they can do with the technology. So like currently what I do is I'm the co-director for like alumni outreach as well as with university outreach. So if anyone here is a student or knows any students at local universities, or if anyone here is watching on YouTube, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk with you and try to figure out what we can do to help you get your organization started. Yeah. And like one of the parts that since I'd only like started the U of M one like pretty recently, I know that a lot of the other people who've been with the like Facebook group have been they like know each other pretty well from like past years.
Yeah, totally. It's great because same with if you want to put on a big event, there's so much use in getting advice from students who have done it before because so much goes into it you may not realize right away. Like having contacts to sponsors or knowing where to start is really useful.
Yeah, I know I've definitely made use by like I've been like emailing you or like messaging you in the past to get
Yeah,
advice. Also with people from like Stanford since they have one, Berkeley, University of Maryland, all across the U.S.
yeah,
It's really great to be kind of part of this network. And like one of the other things I think that's great to like form kind of these like different communities, regardless of whether you're a student or somewhere else, is in a lot of cases like the people around you in this like community, um, especially within the student one, like we're all gonna possibly be working in the XR industry in just like a few years. So it's really cool to kind of see some of the people that you met early on then like spread across and end up working at, you know, like Oculus, Microsoft, Magic Leap, whatever. So,
totally.
mhm.
Yeah, and that first meetup that I was talking about, the one that we attended for Arnold, so many of the people I met there I still keep in touch with and see at conferences or events. So it's really cool to like spread out and get to know as many people as you can. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and there's also like an ICXR festival that is trying to, it's like for the most part starting to be finalized now, but it's going to be happening at USC in a few months as well. So that's kind of exciting.
yeah,
So I want to show this quick picture. So this was from the MIT hackathon. We had a previous TheHiveVR show as well about this, but he's like, you can see it based on like some of the T-shirts from people like University of Florida, we've got USC. Uh, I'm up over there like the top corner, but it's just like a small sample of some of the different students that are all trying to figure out different ways to help more people get involved in XR tech. So now I think it'd be good time to move on to like some of the other projects that I know you've been involved in, with not only with like UploadVR, but also with Magic Leap. So what we've got here is we got a picture of you wearing like the Magic Leap one, and I was curious if you could tell us a little bit about your previous internship experience with the company.
yeah, totally. So I actually interned at Magic Leap last summer. And for those of you that don't know, they launched their first headset in August. So I was there May, June, July, and some of August. So I was there at a very exciting time and was also working in digital marketing. So we were running around trying to get everything done for the launch. And prior to that internship, I had been looking into Magic Leap a lot because I was really inspired by the mission that they had. And my time that I spent there kind of solidified those feelings that I had because they are they're making a leap, right? Magic leap towards this future of immersive technology. And no one's really made the leap that they have. I'm excited to see what comes out from Microsoft HoloLens soon. Really excited. But they have focused more on the enterprise side, which is smart in certain ways. But Magic Leap is the only company right now that's really pushing forward on the consumer. And I think that's important because we won't know what applications to make, what people want until it gets in the consumer hand. Otherwise, we're designing for enterprise or we're designing for more business operations, which may not actually be best when this is ported over to the everyday use, like the phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
With like Magic Leap being kind of targeted more towards consumer. Yeah.
Yeah. And another major point to that is merging the reality and the virtual to a more seamless world. That's kind of like that dream image that a lot of us have, is to live in this future where we're not constantly distracted by the virtual information, but it coexists with us. So that's kind of a future that I aspire for and why I wanted to work for Magic Leap so badly. So there's a little bit about that. And I'm happy to answer any questions about it later if people have.
Yeah, we'll have a Q&A at the end. So you can hang out here after the stream ends as well. And Kacey would love to be able to answer some of the questions. I did want to make one comment about Magic Leap. So, like Magic Leap does have some controversy over it based on the videos they've shown in the past versus like what they actually produce. But I think regardless of what your opinion on Magic Leap is, I think the overall ripple effect that Magic Leap has had is it's basically reinvigorated interest in AR glasses or headsets. Because I know just a year ago, I think before Magic Leap was talking about releasing their headset now, people thought AR Core, AR Kit for AR Core for Google and AR Kit for Apple. I know a lot of people were talking about that these different types of tools was going to basically revolutionize everything, and that's going to be where things are at. But I think after Magic Leap released their headset, it really pushed companies like Microsoft as well as a bunch of new startups that are now popping up again. I think it really pushed more people to start looking at AR headsets again as something as a viable option to develop for, as well as for something for people to explore more. So that's one of the things that I love about that company.
Cool.
And you've also got a current project you're working on with the Magic Leap one, right?
Yes. So I'm currently working with a team under the company Across Realities, and we are launching soon a special app called Spatiate. And the part of immersive technology that I'm most passionate about is actually the collaborative social aspects of it, similar to what we're doing right now in VR, but also in the future, the possibility for an AR experience like this. And so the product is an art creation app that you can experience with your friends, your family, your coworkers in your own space or remotely. So I can actually be in my room drawing in space with my Magic Leap, and Michael can be in Michigan wearing his Magic Leap, and I'll see him as an avatar in my room drawing with me. And it's a really magical experience for the first time because you can also hear each other and the audio is spatial, same with this, so it feels like the person is in front of you. And it's not just like we're talking, but we get to enjoy the experience of art creation together. So that's a really cool experience that's coming out soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah, there's just a GIF that was playing before this, but right now, what you should be able to see on this screen is kind of this fire drawing that's going on. And so that's just some of the examples of what what Spatiate does. So is it releasing soon or has it already been released?
It's releasing soon. Right now it's in beta. So if you do have a Magic Leap and you're dying to try it, I might be able to get you the beta. So reach out to me. Yeah. But if not, it's coming out extremely soon. So yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing that. Yeah. So now that we've started wrapping up, a I'd love to open it up to some questions for the next 2 or 3 minutes. So if you do have a question, I'm going to reset the audience thing really fast and click the ask a question right now and we'll be able to answer your question.
Question
So we
time.
got Rai. Okay, putting you on air. What's your question?
A Magic Leap 2. I'm not familiar with that, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But apparently there's a HoloLens 2. So I'm not working there anymore. I was only there for over the summer. So I don't know any of the newest stuff coming out now, except for Spatiate, which is coming out really soon. Okay. At the end, is it up there, the Twitter handle?
Yeah. Yep, here we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just send me a DM on Twitter.
Looks like any questions from YouTube as well? Okay. Andrew, is that a hand raised? Okay. I do have one question actually then. Um, so what has been like the biggest challenge for you so far as like you're trying to pursue like this career in VR AR technology?
That's a good question. Well, the first thought that comes to me now, because I'm graduating soon, so starting to think about what I'm going to do full time, I'd say the hardest thing for someone who's coming from a non-technical background is finding your space in the industry. And I think I've spoken to some people who get intimidated by it because sometimes there's a big stigma around tech where they feel like they have to be a programmer to really belong in the industry, or not belong, but have a right of way. But there's so many people that go into an experience or go into a new industry that you need all sides of the brain. So I think pretty strongly that there's a place for everyone, but I'd say the challenge is finding that spot, finding that space. Like for me, I'm trying to move towards more product management, but when you're going into an early career, it's hard to jump right to that point. It's more of a ladder. So yeah, that's one thing I've been thinking about for sure.
Mhm. Great. Alrighty then. So for next week's show, we have Pro2VR. So they are a company that develops, or not develops, but they create these different types of stocks as well as accessories that can be used for different VR games. So we've got, I believe, the person who like created the company, as well as we've got some other people from the Onwards community as well, who will be talking about what the company does, as well as kind of like immersion in VR in general. And special thanks to all the people who helped make this show possible, with our wonderful guest, Kacey. You can give her a round of applause. As well as our production team. So we've got Vivian and Vince, as well as all of our moderators, Austin, Fancy, and Newbin, and of course our organizations with ICXR and XRSC. So if you'd like to learn more about the TheHiveVR, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and all the social media, as well as you can find Kacey and I both on Twitter. We both kind of pretty active talking about different things related to XR. So thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll see you all soon.
Good job, guys. That was great.
Woohoo! High five!
Virtual high five. Yeah.
Well, it looks like people want to talk now.
Vince, are we